Hey everybody, Trainer Joe here. We're going to try a repeat of this. Last time it didn't come in. We'll do a quick sound check.
We're going to try a repeat of it.
Yeah, looks like we have sound this time. I love technology. We're going to talk about cleaning your plate. You know, a lot of people struggle with the idea that they should clean their plate, and some would say, well, what do you mean struggle? There's no struggle. I always clean my plate. Why wouldn't I clean my plate? Well, are you trying to lose weight? If you're trying to lose weight, we need to rethink your thinking. The reason a lot of people struggle with their weight is because of the way they think. If you don't rethink your thinking, you're hearing me good. If you don't rethink your thinking, you're not going to rethink your doing. A lot of people are a member of the Clean Plate Club. Are you? Is that something that you feel good about, that you clean your plate? And I'm fine with that as long as your weight is within reason. But if you've been struggling with your weight for years, let's relook at this. Why is it important that you clean your plate? Who does it help when you clean your plate? Is anyone helped? Tell me the benefit of cleaning your plate. Why don't we ask a different question rather than, should I clean my plate? Just when you're sitting there looking at the food on your plate, ask yourself, how big do I want to be? If you've been struggling with your weight for years, obviously something is not working correctly. And one of the things is how amazingly important it is that you clean your plate. How much fun do you want to wear? How big a boy do you want to be? Ask that question instead of, oh, I don't want to waste the food. I realize that some of us grew up where there wasn't very much. And it was important that we ate what we had because we weren't sure we were going to get more or when that was going to be. I realize that that happens. And it may very well affect the way you look at things. That's why we're here. That's why this is challenging. That's why possibly you're overweight, because you're thinking in a way that used to be rather than the way it is now. The way it is now for most of us, particularly if we're trying to lose weight, is I get to eat again in a couple hours. I don't need to eat a lot of food right now. Meal time is coming. All the time it's coming. It's going to be here. I don't need to make the most of this meal. No, you don't. It's not that big a deal. You don't need to eat it all. Matter of fact, imagine how different it would be as if you actually got some joy out of leaving food on your plate. Who does that? Well, you haven't been doing it, and you've been struggling with your weight. Why don't we change the way you think about it? Look at it this way, for example. Valerie here. Valerie's a friend of mine. She's lost about 65 pounds. This Valerie here eats the same amount of food as this Valerie plus Timmy. So when Valerie's sitting here contemplating whether or not she should clean her plate, well, which Valerie are we talking about? She's obviously been cleaning her plate. She has been eating enough food to take care of her body plus another body. Maybe we should look at it as if, well, I'm eating mine and somebody else's. Maybe I need a smaller plate. Surely you don't need to feel pressure to eat all the food on your plate when you've been overweight or obese for 20 years. You guys, we got to rethink our thinking. You will be transformed by changing the way you think. Not by doing keto or Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers. I'm not saying those may not be helpful. I'm not saying they may not be good tools, but ultimately, unless you have a change in the way you're thinking, you're not going to have a change in your behaving. But Joe, we were poor. We had very little. Which explains why we are thinking in a way that is not helpful today. Stop thinking that way or you will continue to struggle. I have a mother-in-law in her 80s and she had an injury one time and was in the we all were there, hanging out. She was going to be fine, but she had broken her leg, and we were there for a while. And she wanted to lose a little bit of weight, and we had my captive audience there in the hospital bed, and she was asking for tips. She wanted to improve her health. And I said, Mimi, one of your struggles is desire not food. So sometimes you didn't need to eat it. And she was like, I don't think that's a problem for me. And so I said, well, let me give you an example. I said, let's say for all of the kids are at your house and you have a nice meal for everybody and we all eat the meal and we're done and we've all had enough and you're cleaning up and there's one cookie left in the middle of the table. Now I'm going to give you the option, Mimi. You get two choices what you can do with the cookie, because we're going to look at how you think of things and how this might be a problem. You have this cookie. You've already eaten dessert. There's a cookie remaining. You get two choices. You can eat the cookie or you can trash the cookie. Eat the cookie, trash the cookie. She didn't like those options. She wanted more options. I said, no, you don't have more options. You either have to eat it or throw it away. Do you know what she said? She said, I'm not going to answer that question. There's nothing wrong with being frugal, of course. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to waste, of course. But there is something wrong when you're thinking, I'd eat it. And you're overweight, and you have health problems, and you've been struggling. I'd eat it. I couldn't waste it. Oh, you're going to waste it, all right. You're going to waste it, or you're going to waste it. Waste it or waste it. We've got to change the way we think about it. No wonder you've been overweight for years. That you couldn't bear the thought of throwing away a cookie. Who is it helping for you to eat it? Who is it helping for you to save it? Join me. Learn to think differently. As long as we allow crazy thinking, we're going to have crazy living. We've got a free Healthy Living Igniter coming up this Thursday at 6:30. I would like to invite you to join me, and please invite a friend. We have this up on my main page that you're on now, and it's shareable, so please share that with somebody, and we can get to the bottom of this. You guys can lose the weight and keep it off, but we're going to have to change the way we think. So let me help you do that. I'm Trainer Joe, here to help you train your brain and transform your body. Thanks for tuning in. See you soon.